Hey, good morning. So I showed a video last week. It was a workplace investigations case management solution. I have since made some enhancements. So as I mentioned last week, investigations are managed across emails, documents, shared folders, and it can become disorganized. And so this solution does bring it into one place. And so I want to go over some of the enhancements I've made. I think that will improve the user experience. Now I have pre-populated this case so we can focus on the workflow and those enhancements. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so right away you will see that you have open cases as an investigator. So I'm going to play the role of Alicia Ford. And so I open up the app. I've already initiated a new case, and I now can just double click this row to enter the main workspace, if you will. So one of the main enhancements I made is I had the workflow at the top correspond with the tabs. So when you open the app, at the top you'll see the initiation and planning phase, you'll see investigating and review and recommendation. Now you can click these circles and it'll tell you what you need to do in this stage, and you will see there are some that are required before you can go to the next stage. But let's hit X and let's just go through this here. So at the top, review the case information, upload the complainant interview, and provide a complaint summary. So I've done all of that, but one thing I do want to show you is that when I hit yes here, you will see that the complaint summary becomes required. And that's just before we move on, even if you don't upload an interview, we do need some kind of summary of what this complaint is about. And when you click this bulb, it will show you the next step. Scroll down to plan your investigation. And now we're going to plan the investigation. What's really cool is on the right side, we have what we call an embedded Canvas app. And so this is integrated with SharePoint. And so let's say the company has a resource library that they want the investigators to have access to while they investigate. This will automatically populate as long as that SharePoint library is accurate. And so you'll see I have some interview templates, investigation plan templates, whatever you want here. Maybe the policies like progressive discipline policy, investigation policies. And then you scroll down and you can also have a video that links to whatever you want, right? This is just a YouTube video, but maybe you have a company provided video on investigations. You can customize it how you see fit. But the biggest enhancement is the spacing. I put that over to the right, and that way the main thing is always the main thing. So this whole stage here is initiating the investigation and then planning for it. Now one thing you'll see at the bottom here is I'm going to hit yes, I'm ready to investigate. And some of these fields are going to lock. So you'll see the plan summary locked and the case or the complaint summary locked. There are some incremental locking, and that's just to preserve the record, but there is a way to modify it, if you will. So I'm done with this stage. I'm going to go to the top and click next stage. And you'll see it goes straight to investigating. And so I'm going to go to the investigating tab. And so I have pre-populated this, so you don't have to watch me go through all of that, but we will go through a couple things. So you'll see on the far right, it will actually surface what you did on the previous tab because you might want to reference it while you investigate. But at the same time, as I mentioned before, it doesn't take up so much space, right? Because as an investigator, you are going to spend most of your time right here. So you document your interviews, evidence, and scope adjustments by selecting plus new for each respective section. And then you're going to navigate to the bottom right of this tab when you are ready to move to the next stage. So I got my interviews that I can conduct. And in fact, let me go ahead and filter it newer to older, because you'll see I have a scheduled interview with the respondent that I'm going to walk through. Down here we have scope adjustments. So we actually added Kevin as a witness, and we requested some relevant text messages because we actually spoke with Nate Sullivan and he said he could be a relevant witness. And so that is kind of a pressure release valve, if you will, if you need to change things based on your original investigation plan, because things do evolve for sure. And then you have an evidence locker that you can upload evidence to. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. We just double click this row for Jordan Mitchell, and it's going to take us right back to the form we originally pre-filled. So we had it scheduled. Let's say we spoke with Jordan. We're going to upload the interview with him. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mark this as complete. And what you're going to notice is it locks all the fields, and that is just to preserve the integrity of the record. And so I'm going to hit save and close. Okay. So you remember I need to navigate to the bottom right. I'm looking at this. I have all the interviews completed. I have the adjustments necessary. I think I'm ready to move on. I have enough for a recommendation. So let me move this over here. So I'm going to hit yes. I have enough. And when this happens, a light bulb will go off and it says a documentation check. Just ensure you have all the relevant documentation before going to the third tab. I did not hit yes, but this is a good check as an investigator. So I can hit apply, it will automatically make it turn yes. Now I can go to the top and hit next stage. All right. And so now we're going to go to the review and recommendation stage. And again, you'll see on the far right, everything you need to reference as you complete this task is right there. But here we're going to upload our findings briefing. We upload a summary of our findings. We attach a relevant policy or procedure. And you have the option to recommend something as an investigator. Whenever you do, it will make this field required. You just have to explain why you're recommending that. But if you decide like, hey, I actually don't want to make a recommendation, it's no longer required once this is blank. But we are going to recommend termination. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste what I had. All right, so it looks like we're good. I am ready to send my findings to leadership. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit yes. And you will notice that the case status says in review. There's also a light bulb that basically tells you, hey, your findings are going to leadership. So as an investigator, I can go ahead and go to the top here. I am going to hit finish for the stage. Okay. And I'm going to hit save and close. And so again, I'm Alicia, I'm the investigator. You see, it's no longer under open cases, it's now in cases pending review. You'll see I even have my recommendation here. Now, the question is, what will the HR leader see? Well, the HR leader will receive an automated message with this. So, investigation ready for review, and then they can click review investigation. Now, as an HR leader, it will go straight to a leadership review and decision view. And you'll see right here, as a leader, I'm going to have the same output for my investigators, right? So on the left, it pulls everything from this case that I might want to look at. At the same time, the main thing is still the main thing, and that's one of the major enhancements I made for the user experience. So as a leader, you come in, I have a decision to make. Got it? So I'm going to go down and I have the summaries and the recommendations because maybe I've been speaking with the investigator throughout the case. But I go ahead and take a look at this. It's locked, so I can't change it, but I can view all the documents. You'll see this downloads for me. And let's say I want to dive into one of these interviews, like, all right, well, what did Jordan actually say? So I can double click this, and then as a leader, I can go look at that interview form and read the questions and answers myself, but it's all in one spot. And that is going to be for adjustments, evidence, everything. So everything you have to make a decision is right here. So I've decided I agree. We're going to head towards the termination. I hit terminate. Now the justification field is required at this point. So let me copy and paste what I have. All right. So we're good there. You'll notice when I did that, the case status here actually went to closed. I have a field called send decision to investigator, and this is just because sometimes a leader, they might not want to send an automated message to the investigator about their decision. They might want to have another conversation, etc. But let's go ahead and hit yes. And I'm going to show you what that does. But I can now hit save and close. And on the investigator's side and my side, the case will now show up under closed cases, and you will have the decision right here. And if I did double click this, it would go straight into what we originally talked about. But as an investigator, you would receive this: leadership decision, termination, justification. So that lets you know that they reviewed it, and here is their justification. You can move on as an investigator to the next step that your company has. So So those are the enhancements, definitely more focused on the user experience, giving the tabs more breathing room. And so at this point, I might revisit this. There's always things that can improve, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you ever want me to give you a full walkthrough of things, please let me know. Thank you.